question in Kashrus that comes up a lot is the question of glass. What is the halachic status of glass when it comes to Kashrus? And it's actually something that ends up being quite confusing because there's a very different halacha for Ashkenazim and Sephardim in this area. So to understand where this fits in, it works as follows. In the Torah, we're told that we can kasher metal, all different types of metal. The way the taste gets in, we have the ability to take the taste out of that metal. We call that kashering, hagala, hechsher kelim. However, the Torah tells us that a kli cheres, a utensil that is made out of earthenware, can never be kashered. You could put it back into the oven and re-fire it in the kiln, and that will create it anew. However, you can't, and that'll burn out any of the taste that's inside of it. However, you can never kasher a kli cheres. Once the taste is in the utensil, there's no way for that taste to come out, and that's in fact what we say lahalacha. Nowadays, if a person has a metal pot or a metal utensil, that becomes not kosher, so we kasher it in the appropriate way. However, if a person has like a crock pot, a cholent pot, or any sort of ceramic china or anything like that, anything made up of earthenware, so anything like that cannot be kashered. And if it's treif, it has to either be thrown out, or maybe if it's very, very old, maybe we'll leave that for another video, very old china. So the question is, when it comes to glass, what is the halachic status of glass? It's not mentioned in the Torah anywhere. And in fact, when it comes to kashrus, it's not even mentioned in Chazal. Chazal discuss glass extensively when it comes to the halachos of tumah and tahara, purity and impurity. However, when it comes to the halachos of kashrus, glass is not mentioned in the Gemara. And it's a big machlokes in the Rishonim whether glass has in fact the status of cheres, just like earthenware is made up of particular pieces of ground and then formed together, so too glass is made that way, and therefore, according to one opinion in the Rishonim, glass can never be kashered. It's the same as earthenware. On the other extreme, we have an opinion that says, no, glass, shia velo bali, glass is smooth and hard, and you could see that there's no taste that gets embedded in there. And in fact, it's the opposite extreme, that glass doesn't need to be kashered because glass can in fact not become treif at all. And this machlokes remains until today as a machlokes between the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah. According to the Psak of the Shulchan Aruch, and this is what Sephardim follow until today, glass cannot become treif. You could use glass for meat and milk, hot, one right after the other, as long as you wash it out. You could use glass on Pesach that you use during the year. According to Sephardic custom, glass does not become treif at all. However, Ashkenazim hold the opposite extreme. The Ramah says that glass is like cheres, this according to the Vilna Gaon, and glass therefore cannot be kashered. It has, just like Chazal say that in certain aspects of tumah and tahara, it has the status of cheres, it has the status of earthenware, so too when it comes to kashrus. And therefore, in the Ashkenaz custom, we don't kasher glass, and once glass would become treif or fleshig or milchig, so then it can't go back, and you cannot use glass that you use during the year on Pesach. So that's one area of confusion. The second area of confusion is that a lot of people use glass only for cold foods, like for drinks, or for serving salad or something like that. And if a food is only, if a utensil is only used with cold food, so then it doesn't ever really become fleshig or milchig, right? It might get grease of meat on it or grease of dairy on it, but if it gets washed off, there's never any taste that goes into a cold drinking glass. So for many, many generations in the olden days, people used to treat glasses differently. They wouldn't wash them in hot water. They wouldn't wash them with the rest of their utensils. And a cold drinking glass could be used back and forth at a meat meal and a dairy meal, and so too when it would come to like a parav salad bowl. However, with the advent of running water and hot water and then dishwashers, where glass then gets washed together with other utensils and can, yes, get infused with taste, so then again, we're not supposed to be using glass back and forth. However, glass drinking glasses, even if they were washed in a meat dishwasher, let's say, so again, technically speaking, to drink cold liquid out of them at a dairy meal would not be prohibited, and therefore there are still families that will use the same drinking glasses back and forth and try to wash them separately or to be careful. However, it's still recommended for Ashkenazim to have a separate set of glasses for drinking, for dairy, and for meat. So in summary, for Sephardim, glass is completely never treif, never chametz. They could use it back and forth from meat to milk in the same day, and there's no taste that's embedded there at all. And Ashkenazim hold the opposite extreme, that once glass becomes fleshig or milchik or treif or chametz, it can never be kashered, and that's how we treat it le halacha. As always, if any real shaila comes up, so then you should ask a posek.